All right. Good morning, y'all. It is Wednesday, the 7th of June, 2023, 11 a.m. here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And we are live for the morning. I'm, a little better than yesterday. I still didn't get as much sleep as I would have liked last night, and that'll probably go on for a few more days. There's a lot of stuff going on, and usually because I take my medicine on Wednesdays, I don't sleep as well that night, and so my Thursdays are usually a little bit loopy. But yeah, that's what's going on today. I wanted to follow up on a little bit. Oh, we have something in the chat here already. Gary Bennett, hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. I will put that over there where I can see it. Yeah. So yesterday we talked about the Apple's headset thing, and I know there's a lot of confusion about this around, and that will probably continue until the damn thing ships. But one of my concerns, and I've been seeing this concern raised in a few different places, is about accessibility. So this is something that's controlled by eyes and hands, and in other words, to click on something, you look at it, and then you tap your fingers. And so the concern has been raised. How will this work for people who don't have two eyes or who don't have two hands? There are people out there who have one hand. They were either born that way or it's happened later in life. And there are people out there who have one eye. And has there been any effort to accommodate those people? And then for myself, I've spoken about this before. In my my AirPods, I use what Apple calls audio accommodations. And this is because I have significant hearing loss. My audiologist calls it moderate hearing loss, which means that without hearing aids, I really can't hear what a person is saying, unless they speak very slowly and distinctly. And even then, a lot of higher pitched voices I still have trouble understanding. And if the voice falls within the range where my hearing loss is, it's just not going to. And so my audiologist does tests and creates what's called an audiogram, which I wish I had a copy of it here. I could show you, but it's in the file. Which has a map of the frequencies that need to be boosted in my hearing aids in order for me to hear more or less normally, reasonably. Even with my hearing aids, I don't hear as well as I did when I was young. And I can take that audiogram, and the iPhone, this is new in the last few years, it has a place where I can put in the data from that audiogram, and it will adjust my headphones so that I can hear, music and speech, and I can hear normally, actually better than with my hearing aids. And this has allowed me to enjoy music again. I mean, before this, I used to, I had been searching for headphones that would allow me to adjust the frequency response, like an EQ. And a few of them were starting to show up, and they were very expensive. And I had tried a few of them. They were like, okay, not great. And then Apple added this to the iPhone, and all of a sudden, I can hear like normally. But what they call it audio accommodations, and the term accommodations is a general industry term for things that make it possible for visually or audially impaired people. Audially, that's not a word, but for people with various impairments to be able to use devices, and they call it accommodations. Um, and so Apple added this silently. I didn't even notice it until about a year ago. And I just ran across it, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I can now use, high quality earbuds to be able to really listen to music like I hadn't been able to for 30 years. And it made me very, very happy. But it's only on so far it's only on the iPhone and on the iPad. They don't have it yet on the Apple TV, which I use one of my other headphones that's compensated in order to use the Apple TV, and they don't have it on the Mac. And I use an app on my Mac which does something similar. It's an app called Sound Source, which has a multiband EQ. And I actually have in my rack here, I have a multiband EQ that I use for when I'm producing music with my, my producer quality cans. Yes, I call them cans because
Hands and rack. I mean, what is this live even about right now?
so
throw it back with the throwback, the cans.
yeah, cans it's an old musician's term for the headphones. I actually prefer Jimi Hendrix's term. He called them ear goggles.
Love it.
Which I just think is brilliant. And so yeah, I've changed my name in my Zoom today to honor the great Jimmy. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing, and I'm in one of the developer chats tomorrow during the Worldwide Developers Conference, and so I'm going to ask them about accommodations in the Vision Pro product, and also just in general across their product line. How are we coming with the audio accommodations? I'd love to have it on my Mac, and I'd love to have it on my Apple TV.
So has Apple addressed any of these concerns thus far?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm going to ask about it in the chat tomorrow.
Awesome.
The Worldwide Developers Conference is going on this week, and they've got Slack rooms set up, and I've been I've registered and gotten authorized for one of them for tomorrow, and so yeah, looking forward to that. There was something else. Oh, this is not it. And I may have done oh yeah. I posted a link on all of my socials today, or rather my amazing team has done it for me. I thought this was a really, really clever use of Stable Diffusion, an AI graphics program where somebody was able to take two pieces of two graphic images, one of them of a piece of artwork and another one of a QR code, and merge them together so that the artwork actually works as it looks like the artwork, but it works like the QR code. And it's a Ars Technica article, and they've got examples in there, and they're absolutely fabulous. I just, that's the kind of stuff that I think AI is going to ultimately be really good for, at least for the coming generation. And then, off in the future, we may get Skynet, we may get the computer from Star Trek, we may get other stuff, but for now it's going to be useful for this kind of stuff.
That it's combining like art and technology and they're not even like the same picture in different like colors or whatever. Like they are completely different pieces of art. Yeah, and I know that you were concerned because you were like, AI is never going to be able to, and it may still not be able to produce artwork like a human with feelings can, but this is pretty dang cool.
Yeah, what this is doing is it's taking, human expression and human creative expression and adding the technology to it to make it, to give it a new functionality, which I think is brilliant, and I applaud this. And all the other caveats still apply. We need to credit the original artists. We need to make sure they get paid. That kind of stuff. I mean, I worry about. I don't worry about it, but I notice that people are asking, ChatGPT to write code for them, and ChatGPT has learned to write code by scraping the internet, and a lot of my code is out there on the internet, and so it's taking some of that work that I've created and applying it to the stuff that it's giving away for free to other people. And, this has not escaped my notice. I live on royalties. That's my bread and butter. And, if it does feel a little bit like a violation to me, but I try not to focus on it because, I mean, honestly, there ain't nothing I can do about it. I do prefer to focus on the things which I can impact. And this is not something that I can impact. But I do notice. Yeah. So that's what I got today. You kids got anything?
No, we got to come up with a new game plan so that we know what you're talking about, and then I can make sure.
I don't always know what I'm going to talk about until 5 minutes before, because my alarm goes off at 10 o'clock that says Livestream is coming up, and then I go, oh, what do I need to do to prepare? And some of that might include, I forgot to have my electrolytes this morning, and so I need to prepare my electrolytes. Or some of it might mean, I need to go to the bathroom. It might be these other things. And then part of that is going to be, I need to look at my morning news feeds to see what's going on in the world. I don't always know. You guys can just do your own, find the things that are interesting to you. I mean, I have no idea what's going on with the Kardashians right now.
Do you want to know?
There's a whole spectrum of things that are outside of my radar, which may be of interest to, some fraction of our audience. I don't know. Or it may even be of interest to me and just not on my radar. There may be music things that you guys are listening to.
I mean, do you really want to know what's going on with the Kardashians?
I don't know. I hear that Prince Harry or not Harry, the other one, William, is having some legal troubles. I know nothing about that. I don't know. You guys have a different worldview than me, and I would like to see that added to our. Tell us in the chat. Would you guys like to see added to our live streams more of the worldview of the younger generation? These beautiful. Anthropomorphic kitties and women in our circle.
I'm glitching out my expression.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, you can always tell when
tell us.
The kitty AI is
she's having a moment, as we all do.
Yeah.
I watched this really cool movie last night based off of a true story. Back in 2017. The name of the movie is Reality, and it's on HBO Max, just dropped it. The main character is one of the characters from Euphoria.
Which one?
The girl who plays Cassie.
Oh my gosh. Is this the movie that she did with the Australian dude?
Oh, I don't know.
Or they filmed it in Australia?
No, I don't think so, because it was I'm gonna try.
It was in regular English.
I'm gonna give you an overview, but I mean the events have already played out, so if you know the story, you know what happens. But it's a very slow movie, like within it of itself, but it keeps you hooked because you really have no freaking idea what's going on. But it's based on a true story of a woman that was in the U.S. Air Force, I believe. But she was a linguistics specialist. So she could speak Farsi, Pashto, and Dari and English, obviously. And she worked at the headquarters of wherever she was living. And one day the FBI just shows up at her house, and it's really, really sketchy. Like the whole thing is just weird. And then at the end, it just freaking ties it all up in a beautiful bow. I think that you would really enjoy it. I have a hard time watching things like based on a true story, because all they need is 1% of the true story, and then they can just go from there. And obviously none of us are ever going to know what actually happened, but it is so good. It's so engaging, even though it's slow. You know, I love me a good like action, whoop, blood, guts, high speed car race. But this was slow, but I couldn't stop watching, and my jaw was just on the ground the entire time.
I love films like that. I really do.
So I think if you have HBO Max, which it's just called Max now.
Yeah, I saw that when they changed it, and I was like, this is so stupid. And they were getting ragged on every social media platform about how this is literally the stupidest business move of all business moves.
Why though?
To just name it Max, like, what is this, a dog app? Like, that's so
Max
stupid.
Keebler's big move.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's, you know, I understand what they were trying to do with the rename, but I honestly think they missed the mark. HBO was their big brand, and Max sounds like Cinemax, which was always sort of the bastard stepchild. And you know, I don't know, I think, and of course people used to call it Skinemax because it was mostly porn.
Love that.
Abdul, thank you for the kind comments about my Python and C++ courses. Ryan, cans back to you. I believe that's also a film festival in France. Gary, sorry you missed the show. I believe most of it, if not all of it, is available for replay on YouTube. And yeah, and Ryan says exactly. Plus, I had to reinstall the app. Yeah, didn't we all? That was dumb also. They should have just used the same app. And the new app doesn't yet have all of the features and doesn't yet work as well as the old app. So there's that too. But you know, there's no there's just no accounting for the collective intelligence of the executive class in our society. I don't understand a lot of their moves. They seem odd and counterintuitive. So there's that. Kirsten, you were talking about the true story thing, and I just want to. Have you ever seen the film Fargo?
Yes.
So,
yes.
There was a
OG Fargo too. Like I started all the way back at the beginning and then worked my way to the most.
Well, I'm just talking about the movie, not the TV show. So
they have an original movie, and then they did a remake, and then they did the TV show.
I didn't know they did a remake. The original one by the Coen brothers, with what's her name as the pregnant police chief. And William Macy as really, really great film. It opens up with a little title that says based on a true story, and it is not based on anything that actually ever happened, even a little bit. And the filmmakers, the Coen brothers, they got into a little bit of a controversy about this because they said, it depends on what you define as a true story. We wrote this story. We truly wrote this story. And we're not saying it's based on true events. We're saying it's based on a true story. And we know that the story is true because we wrote it. So it's, a little semantic trick there. But the whole true story thing is always, and I think that's what they were trying to say.
Exaggerated a little bit.
I think that's what they were trying to say with that whole thing is that, true story doesn't really mean anything anyway.
I don't know where I heard it or where I read it, or even if it was a viable source, but I heard through the grapevine at some point, and I've just held on to that information, that they literally only need 1% of.
Well, and how do you quantify that anyway?
Exactly. Like, So
And
I'm
there's
like,
no,
oh,
and
Mine's
it's
1%
not
of
like
what?
there's any legal standard for the phrase based on a true story. So that whole 1% argument is also, I think, specious.
I mean,
Yeah,
to like to
technically-
me, oh sorry. What were you saying, Ricky?
Technically, if two people, right, have a conversation, that's the true story. That's a true story right there. So that's based on a true story. Every movie.
You know, I don't think any of that means anything, honestly.
Or I was thinking more so of like the main character, whoever the story is based on, like if they're left-handed and you make sure that your character plays somebody that's left-handed. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, there is
story.
no legal standard. It's not like anybody's going to get in any trouble. And the Coen brothers proved this. All it did was make people want to see their movie. You know, it's not like anybody gets in trouble for saying it's a true story when it's not. So, you know, I think that was their point in doing that. You know, all stories are true in some way, right?
The
Yeah,
big
I mean,
question.
technically, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Long
So
story short, reality on Max.
on Max, God,
That was clever.
yeah. So I would be willing to take odds on when they're going to restore the HBO name. I give it 5 years tops.
Write that down, folks. He's telling
Yeah,
me.
Write it down. Hold me to it. All right. So that's what we've got for this morning, Wednesday, the 7th of June, 2023. Three. And we will see you tomorrow morning. And tomorrow's game night. Excuse my throat. Tomorrow is game night. And so we can look forward to that. And I understand we're going to try some new game. Do we know what it is yet, or have any? We haven't figured that out
like
yet.
a Marvel version of Yu-Gi-Oh from my research, and apparently it's pretty fun. So we're gonna try that. And if anybody in the comments has a suggestion for a game that we could play on Steam, go ahead and leave it in the comments.
All right. So we'll look forward to that. Thank you, Rikiti and Kirsten, and all of our audience. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow morning.
Bye.